Do you think you make your own decisions? Napoleon Hill discovered that 98% of the population is trapped in what he called hypnotic rhythm. Right now, as you listen to these words, invisible forces are shaping your financial decisions, your career choices, and your daily habits. You are not aware of them. Most people never become aware. They drift through life wondering why wealth always seems to slip through their fingers, why prosperity feels like a distant dream reserved for others. Hill spent 25 years studying the wealthiest people in America, and what he discovered will shake you. The system is designed to keep you hypnotized into poverty. The schools you attended, the news you consume, the conversations you repeat, all of it reinforces a rhythm that keeps you financially asleep. But here is the startling truth. You possess a divine gift that can break this spell completely. God gave you independent thought, the ability to choose your mental diet, to reject the programming, and to align with infinite intelligence instead. In the next few minutes, you will discover exactly how the 2% escape this hypnotic trap, and more importantly, how you can join them starting today. This is not theory. This is the exact metaphysical framework Andrew Carnegie used to build an empire. The same principle Henry Ford applied to revolutionize industry. Let us break the spell together. Napoleon Hill identified a specific type of person he called the drifter. The drifter does not set definite goals. The drifter accepts whatever circumstances deliver. The drifter blames the economy, the government, the employer, and never looks inward. Hill discovered that 98% of humanity falls into this category, and the consequences are devastating. These individuals live in what he termed hypnotic rhythm, a natural law as powerful as gravity. When you drift long enough in one direction, the universe itself begins to harmonize with that drift, making it harder and harder to change course. Think of it as cosmic momentum. A person who drifts into debt for 5 years creates a rhythm of scarcity. A person who drifts into fear-based thinking creates a rhythm of anxiety. The rhythm becomes self-perpetuating. Here is where it gets metaphysically profound. Hypnotic rhythm is not evil. It is neutral. It simply amplifies whatever pattern you feed it. If you drift into procrastination, the rhythm makes procrastination feel natural, even comfortable. If you drift into ambition and disciplined thought, the rhythm makes success feel inevitable. The problem is not the law itself. The problem is that most people never realize they are drifting. They believe they are making conscious choices, when in reality they are repeating subconscious patterns installed by external authorities. The school system plays a primary role in this hypnosis. Napoleon Hill observed that traditional education trains young minds to follow orders, memorize facts, and avoid risk. It does not teach independent thinking. It does not teach financial literacy. It does not teach the metaphysical laws that govern prosperity. Instead, it produces obedient workers who accept predetermined income ceilings and never question the structure. By the time a person reaches adulthood, the hypnotic rhythm of limitation is already deeply entrenched. They have been conditioned to believe that wealth requires luck, connections, or inheritance. They have been taught to fear failure instead of using it as feedback. They have been programmed to seek security over freedom. Media programming intensifies this hypnosis exponentially. Turn on the news, and what do you see? Economic collapse, inflation, layoffs, crime, fear. Napoleon Hill understood that fear is the enemy of faith, and faith is the currency of manifestation. When you consume fear-based media daily, you are not informing yourself. You are hypnotizing yourself into poverty consciousness. The rhythm takes hold. You begin to hoard instead of invest. You begin to doubt instead of believe. You begin to contract instead of expand. The 2% who achieve extraordinary wealth understand this trap and deliberately avoid it. They guard their mental diet as fiercely as a monk guards his prayers. The drifter also surrounds himself with other drifters. Hill called this negative social influence. If everyone in your circle complains about money, mocks ambition, and celebrates mediocrity, you are being pulled deeper into the hypnotic rhythm of failure. The mind cannot rise higher than the thoughts it consistently entertains. This is why Andrew Carnegie insisted on the Mastermind principle. He surrounded himself with people whose mental vibrations lifted his own. He understood that hypnotic rhythm works both ways. Surround yourself with abundance thinkers, and you drift toward abundance. Surround yourself with scarcity thinkers, and you drift toward scarcity. Most people never make this distinction consciously. They drift into relationships, jobs, and environments by default, and then wonder why their financial situation never improves. The diagnosis is clear. You are hypnotized, but the cure is equally clear. Napoleon Hill spent decades identifying the exact characteristics that separate the 2% from the 98%. What he discovered was not complicated, but it was radical. The 2% refused to drift. They make definite decisions. They set clear goals. They take control of their mental environment with the precision of a surgeon. Hill wrote, "The majority of people permit relatives, friends, and the public at large to so influence them that they cannot live their own lives because they fear criticism." The 2% do not fear criticism. They fear mediocrity. Let me share a story Hill documented about Henry Ford. When Ford decided to create the V8 engine, every engineer told him it was impossible. The laws of physics, they said, would not allow it. Ford did not argue. He simply said, "Produce it anyway." Months passed. The engineers returned with the same conclusion: impossible. Ford repeated, "Produce it anyway." This went on for over a year. Finally, the engineers discovered the solution. The V8 engine became a reality, and Ford revolutionized the automobile industry. What was the difference between Ford and his engineers? Ford had broken free of hypnotic rhythm. The engineers were trapped in the rhythm of limitation, the rhythm of accepted knowledge, the rhythm of what everyone else believed. Ford operated from a different rhythm entirely, the rhythm of faith and persistence. This is the metaphysical secret the 2% understand. You do not break hypnotic rhythm by fighting it. You break it by choosing a new rhythm deliberately and then feeding that rhythm with unwavering focus. Napoleon Hill called this definiteness of purpose. When you have a definite purpose, your mind begins to attract circumstances, people, and opportunities that align with that purpose. This is not magic. This is the natural law of mental chemistry. Your dominant thoughts create a magnetic field that draws corresponding conditions into your life. The 2% know this. They do not wait for circumstances to change. They change their thoughts first, and circumstances follow. Hill also discovered that the 2% use what he called the other self. This is the connection to infinite intelligence, the divine mind that exists beyond individual consciousness. When you quiet the noise of external programming and turn inward, you access ideas, insights, and solutions that the rational mind cannot produce. Thomas Edison used this technique. He would sit in a chair holding ball bearings in his hand, allowing his mind to drift into the space between waking and sleeping. When he received an insight, the ball bearings would drop, waking him to record the idea. Edison understood that the greatest inventions do not come from the conscious mind. They come from the superconscious, the realm where infinite intelligence resides. The 2% also understand the principle of controlled attention. They do not allow random thoughts to dominate their minds. They select their thoughts as carefully as a gardener selects seeds. Napoleon Hill wrote, "You have absolute control over but one thing, and that is your thoughts. This is the most significant and inspiring of all facts known to man. Most people surrender this control. They allow worry, doubt, and fear to run wild in their minds, and then they wonder why their lives reflect chaos. The 2% take dominion over their mental kingdom. They reject negative thoughts immediately. They replace fear with faith. They replace doubt with certainty. They replace scarcity with abundance. This is not positive thinking. This is mental discipline, and it is the foundation of all lasting wealth. Napoleon Hill identified the single most powerful weapon against hypnotic rhythm: independent thought. This is the divine gift God gave to every human being, yet 98% never use it. They allow society, media, and tradition to think for them. Independent thought is not rebellion, it is spiritual maturity. It is recognizing that you are not a victim of circumstances, but a creator of circumstances. Hill wrote, "The Creator gave man complete, unchallengeable control over but one thing, the power to think." This is the metaphysical anchor. No external force can control your thoughts unless you give permission. Here is the profound truth most people miss. When you think independently, you step out of mass consciousness. Mass consciousness is the collective rhythm of limitation, fear, and scarcity. It is the frequency that keeps the 98% trapped. Independent thought allows you to tune into a different frequency entirely, the frequency of infinite intelligence. This is where miracles happen. This is where sudden wealth appears. This is where impossible problems find solutions. But you cannot access this frequency while you are drifting. You must choose it deliberately. The biblical parallel is undeniable. Romans 12 verse 2 states, "Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind." This is not religious dogma. This is metaphysical instruction. The pattern of this world is hypnotic rhythm. It is the mass agreement that wealth is scarce, that success requires struggle, that most people are destined for mediocrity. To renew your mind is to reject this pattern and install a new one. Napoleon Hill called this mental diet. What you feed your mind determines your reality. Feed it fear, and you create poverty. Feed it faith, and you create prosperity. Hill emphasized that breaking the spell requires a definite plan. You cannot simply wish for change. You must engineer it. First, identify the hypnotic rhythm you are currently trapped in. Are you drifting in debt? Are you drifting in unfulfilling work? Are you drifting in toxic relationships? Name the rhythm. Second, decide on the exact opposite rhythm you want to create. If you are in debt, the new rhythm is financial freedom. If you are in unfulfilling work, the new rhythm is purposeful contribution. Be specific. Vague desires produce vague results. Third, write down your definite purpose and read it aloud twice daily, once upon waking and once before sleep. This is not affirmation. This is reprogramming. You are installing new software into your subconscious mind. Fourth, surround yourself with people who vibrate at the frequency of your desired rhythm. This is the mastermind principle Andrew Carnegie taught Napoleon Hill. When two or more minds harmonize around a definite purpose, they create a third invisible force that is greater than the sum of its parts. This third force is infinite intelligence expressing through human cooperation. Carnegie built his steel empire using this principle. He did not know more about steel than his engineers, but he knew how to orchestrate minds toward a unified goal. The combined mental energy shattered every obstacle. Fifth, take daily action aligned with your definite purpose, no matter how small. Action breaks the hypnotic rhythm of inertia. It signals to the universe that you are serious. It activates the law of cause and effect in your favor. Prayer is the sixth step, but not prayer as most people practice it. Napoleon Hill taught that effective prayer is not begging. It is communing with infinite intelligence. It is aligning your mental vibration with the source of all supply. When you pray, you are not asking a distant deity to grant favors. You are tuning your consciousness to the frequency of abundance that already exists. Hill wrote, "Prayer does bring results, but only to the person who prays in the right mental attitude." The right attitude is expectation, gratitude, and faith. You pray knowing the answer is already given, not hoping it might be given. This is the metaphysics of manifestation. You do not create from lack, you create from fullness. Let us bring this into your current reality. You live in an age of unprecedented hypnotic rhythm. Social media algorithms are designed to keep you scrolling, consuming, comparing. Financial systems are designed to keep you borrowing, spending, and dependent. Entertainment is designed to keep you distracted, passive, and uninformed. The hypnotic rhythm has never been more sophisticated, but the antidote has never been more accessible either. Napoleon Hill's principles work today exactly as they worked in 1937, when he published Think and Grow Rich. The laws of the mind do not change. Consider the modern epidemic of financial anxiety. Millions of people earn more money than their grandparents ever dreamed of, yet they feel poorer. Why? Because they have drifted into the rhythm of instant gratification. They consume instead of invest. They seek comfort instead of growth. They follow trends instead of principles. Hill would diagnose this instantly. They are hypnotized by marketing, by peer pressure, by the illusion that happiness comes from external acquisition. The 2% understand that wealth is not about income, it is about consciousness. You can earn 6 figures and still be trapped in poverty consciousness. You can earn minimum wage and cultivate millionaire consciousness. The consciousness always precedes the manifestation. Earl Nightingale, a student of Napoleon Hill's work, famously said, "We become what we think about." This is not motivational fluff. This is the law of mental chemistry in action. If you think about debt, you attract more debt. If you think about opportunity, you attract more opportunity. Your mind is a magnet. It does not evaluate whether your thoughts are beneficial or harmful. It simply magnetizes circumstances that match the dominant frequency you broadcast. Most people broadcast lack because they were hypnotized into lack from childhood. Breaking this requires conscious effort every single day. Here is a practical application. Take your current financial goal. Let us say you want to earn $10,000 per month. The drifter approaches this with hope and desperation. The independent thinker approaches it with definiteness and faith. The independent thinker asks, "What service can I provide that is worth $10,000 per month? Who needs this service? How can I reach them?" Notice the shift. The drifter focuses on receiving. The independent thinker focuses on giving. Hill taught that all wealth flows from service. The more valuable the service, the greater the compensation. Andrew Carnegie did not become wealthy by wanting money. He became wealthy by providing steel to a nation building railroads and skyscrapers. He solved a massive problem, and wealth followed naturally. Another modern application involves relationships. Many people drift into relationships based on convenience, loneliness, or social pressure. Then they wonder why those relationships drain their energy and finances. Napoleon Hill taught that your intimate associations directly affect your prosperity. If your partner believes money is evil, you will struggle to accumulate it. If your partner believes success requires sacrifice and suffering, you will experience sacrifice and suffering. This is not about blame. This is about energetic resonance. The 2% choose partners who share their vision, who challenge them to grow, who celebrate their wins instead of resenting them. This is not selfish. This is strategic alignment. Technology offers both trap and tool. Social media can hypnotize you into comparison and envy, or it can connect you with mentors and opportunities. The difference is how you use it. The 2% curate their feeds ruthlessly. They unfollow negativity. They follow abundance. They consume content that elevates consciousness, not content that numbs it. They use technology as leverage, not escape. Hill would call this controlled attention in the digital age. You must guard the gates of your mind more vigilantly now than ever before, because the attacks are constant and invisible. Financial literacy is another critical bridge. The school system does not teach you about compound interest, asset allocation, or tax strategy. This is not an accident. It is part of the hypnotic rhythm designed to keep you dependent on employers and institutions. The 2% educate themselves. They read books. They study investors. They learn the rules of money that the 98% never discover. Napoleon Hill himself emphasized continuous learning. He said, "Anyone who stops learning is old, whether at 20 or 80. Knowledge breaks hypnosis. Ignorance perpetuates it. Here is the metaphysical resolution. You were born into a system designed to hypnotize you into mediocrity. Your schools, your media, your social circles, and even your family may have reinforced patterns of limitation. But you possess one unchallengeable power, the ability to think independently. This power, when activated, breaks every chain. Napoleon Hill proved this through hundreds of case studies. Ordinary people with extraordinary faith achieved impossible results. They did not have special advantages. They had definite purpose, controlled attention, and connection to infinite intelligence. The conclusion is undeniable. Hypnotic rhythm is real, but it is not permanent. You can break it today by making one definite decision and backing that decision with unwavering faith. You can renounce the poverty contract you unconsciously signed through years of drifting. You can choose a new rhythm of abundance, purpose, and divine alignment. The universe will respond. Infinite intelligence will guide you. Opportunities will appear. But you must take the first step. You must declare your independence from mass consciousness. If you are ready to join the 2%, if you are ready to break free from the hypnotic spell that has kept you small, then subscribe to this channel. This is not just content. This is a community of manifestors, of independent thinkers, of people who refuse to drift. Every video on this channel is designed to deepen your understanding of the metaphysical laws that govern wealth, love, and success. You are not here by accident. You are here because some part of you already knows the truth Napoleon Hill taught. You are here because you are ready to awaken. Let me leave you with the words of Napoleon Hill himself. Whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. This is not a slogan. This is a divine promise. Your mind is the workshop where you build your future. Guard it, feed it, use it, and watch as the invisible becomes visible, as the impossible becomes inevitable, as the hypnotic rhythm of poverty transforms into the harmonious rhythm of prosperity. The choice is yours. The power is yours. The time is now.